All right, you ready to do this?
Yes, indeed. Let's do it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here with Coach Q, also known as Quentin McCain, and I should say the always upbeat, always positive Coach Q. So welcome, Coach Q.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Damon. I am excited to be here.
Very cool. So before we get started, I feel like I should tell our viewers a little bit about you. So Quentin McCain, he works with individuals and organizations that want to maximize performance by breaking through mental barriers to success. He is also a maximum performance coach and master NLP practitioner, and that's kind of why he's here. And he knows that ultimate success cannot happen until we wake up and take the wheel of life. He's also the co-author of Think on These Things, which is an Amazon #1 bestseller. He utilizes his personal experience and the proven principles of NLP taught by business masters such as Tony Robbins. And Quentin also shows salespeople, customer service representatives, C-level executives how to reprogram their thinking and self-talk to re-engage the mission, renew the passion for their work, and reinvigorate innovation to achieve greater success. He is extremely passionate about using NLP principles with burn and trauma-related staff and survivors. And that was one of the things that you told me that really fascinated me. And I was like, I got to talk more with this guy, and I want to get this on video. So once again, welcome. Really glad to have you here.
Yeah, most definitely. So as far as the burn and trauma realm, I'm super passionate about it. First, I'll say that not to downplay anything else, but you hear about HIV, you hear about cancer, you hear about all of these great causes that people are coming together to make a change in, but we really don't hear about burn survivors much. And my experience comes into play in the burn realm. I worked in the Arizona Burn Center for about 8 years with physical and occupational therapy. And for those that don't know, the Arizona Burn Center is, or at least was when I was working there, the second largest burn center in the nation. So I got to see, the biggest and craziest burns, and that was for children as well as adults. And what happened was, while I was working there in therapy, a lot of times people didn't want to see me, right? Because I worked in therapy and I was the bringer of pain to some people. So what I started doing is I started going into their rooms when I wasn't doing therapy, just to talk and, kind of figure out, what do you want to do when you get out of here? What are your goals and aspirations once you get out? And I realized a lot of times it stopped right there. They didn't have any. They say, well, I used to want to do this. I used to want to do that, but now I'm burned. And that kind of sent me down this positive snowball effect of learning, life coaching, learning NLP and other modalities that could help, first change my mindset and help with others as well.
Wow. Okay. So I was going to save that part for last, and you just
Okay.
dove right into it, but that's fine. No, it's great. So what I want to do now is just let's back up a little bit, and then we'll get to the deep stuff in a moment, because that's really what was fascinating when you told me that the last time we talked. And I was like, wow, this guy's got, I bet he's got a much richer story than when I'm, my initial impression of you. So but let's back up a little bit. I mean, you always seem so upbeat and positive. Okay. And, we're both in the same field. We do slightly different things, but I've wondered about that. Like, there's the person who teaches yoga. And a lot of times people think, well, that person must be a vegan. That person never drinks. People have or project all these, ways of that the person is going to be. And so I think a lot of life coaches, personal development coaches and speakers, people kind of project that onto them. Like, they're always upbeat. They're always positive. They don't have any problems, that sort of thing. So you seem naturally very upbeat and positive. So I was wondering, do you have any bad days? And if you do, what are those like, and how do you pull yourself out of them?
Right. I definitely have bad days. I mean, none of us are, superhuman, right? So I definitely have bad days. However, I would say that my baseline is pretty positive. And a lot of it comes from me working on myself. I've been working on myself for years now in personal development, and just, growing to get to the next level in my life, my business. So that's a big part of it. But yes, I do have bad days. I just don't stay in it.
Mhm. Any tips that you use that you could maybe give people who are having a bad day, that's how to pull them out of it?
Sure. Well, first of all, I have a routine where I start off my mornings with intention because I feel like a lot of us we get up on accident, stumble out of bed, get dressed on accident, and then head into the day, right? So I think it's really important to wake up with an intention. So you wake up and you have a plan. Like for me, I like to access mind, body, and spirit when I wake up. So for me, that means mind could be I wake up, I do a little visualization, some NLP techniques with myself. Body, it could be something as simple as just getting the blood flowing and doing some push ups and sit ups, jumping jacks, or it could be me actually getting in the car, going to the gym. And then spirit for me would be praying, meditation, things of that nature. So I like to access mind, body, and spirit. And for me, that like skyrockets me into my day, and there's hardly anything that can touch me.
I love that you said intention, and you hear a lot about it, intention and personal development. So one thing I like to add to it is the distinction between intention and expectation. I think a lot of us run on expectation, and so when you get to the end of your day, and say you did everything that you expected to, there's a sort of mild sense of satisfaction. But if you don't achieve that expectation, then there's a sense of like, oh, like it, it doesn't feel good. But if you go by intention, it really takes that pressure off of you. So I'm really glad you said that, because I think that is the way to start the morning. That is the best way to start the morning, is through intention.
Yeah, I love it. I highly recommend it.
So for you, that you would say that the key is really intention. Start off your morning with intention rather than just sort of letting your day haphazardly make or break your mood. Would you say that's how you do it?
Yeah, most definitely. I think a lot of times we just let life happen to us instead of intending on what we want.
Great. That's good. All right. The other thing that really impressed me, because I stepped into this world a little bit, and it wasn't, I guess, as motivating for me, or it wasn't as fulfilling for me. It's still something I would like to do, but you really have to work to become a professional public speaker. Like, that is something, I don't care who you are, that takes some work. So tell me, how did you get into it, and then how did you get to the point where you could do this and make a living from it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, funny thing is that at first I just wanted to be a coach, um, and I really believed it, right, in my mind that no, it's just because I don't want to be a speaker. My realm is coaching one on one, right? And I realized later that that was just one of my limiting beliefs. I was blocking myself from that. I really did want to speak, but I had a little bit of fear around it. Now, on the outside, I would say, well, no, I'm not afraid to speak. I don't mind speaking in front of people. And I would actually get up in school and things like that and speak and make people laugh. But that was one of my strategies. Okay, get up and just be kind of wild and funny, right? But that was fear coming out as well in a different way, but it made me seem like, oh man, he doesn't care about getting up. But I really did. So how I got into it professionally was first getting rid of some of those blocks around speaking, and I joined Toastmasters.
Mhm.
That was one of the first things I did. But I visited probably about 5 Toastmasters before I settled on one. And the Toastmasters that I did join, I'm no longer a member now, but I'm still connected with a lot of them, was here in Phoenix called Park Central Toastmasters, and really renowned Toastmasters with some great speakers. And I just started getting up there and speaking, being critiqued, taking the good with the needs improvement, and I just started doing it. And funny thing is, I got the confidence, and that's when I felt like there was no um, process for being ready. It was just when you felt that you were ready. And I actually was paid on my very second professional speech that I ever did. I know you hear people say like, do 100 speeches, and then you can start being paid. So I mean, it's just, I guess, a matter of how you look at it. If you have the confidence to say, hey, I've been studying storytelling, I've been studying gestures and movements and, you know, your voice tonation, right? And pauses. These are all components of speaking, which you definitely should master if that's, you know, what you want to do. But getting paid as a speaker is just the confidence. You just go out there and say, hey, I'm ready to do it. They don't know what you charge, and they don't know if you've ever been paid before. They're just like, oh, you're an expert on this topic, all right.
Well, I got to say too, like, well, right now you're making it sound, well, to me, easier than what it is. But what I did before, before we scheduled this, is I went online and looked for your speeches, and you are a very charismatic speaker, and you seem so at home on a stage talking to people. Like I was so impressed with that, and I was just like, you look like it's almost like you're talking to friends. That's the feeling that I got. And then you're also delivering a really good message. So I was very impressed by that. I think you make it look easier. I don't know how easy it is for you. That no one can really know that but you make it look easier, I think, than what it feels like for a lot of people. I also want to say that I had a very similar path. I felt that fear of public speaking, and I went to Toastmasters just like you. And I did actually go through a few looking for the right one, and I found a really good one. And I do some public speaking. I'm not like you do it for a living. And but I would like to say to everyone who's watching this that is just one fear to just go and knock it out. And Toastmasters is, it's a nonprofit. It's super cheap. That feedback is amazing. The communication your communication skills just skyrocket. So even if you don't want to be a public speaker, I can't say enough good things about just overcoming that fear and learning and developing those skills. It's quite profound.
Yeah, most definitely. And I will say, in your defense, that I'm not saying that it was easy. I engulfed myself in learning the craft of speaking. I really did. So, I mean, I'm talking about books, Toastmasters. I'm a member of NSA, which is the National Speakers Association. So I learned from all types of mentors, modeling, of course, NLP, right? And I model speakers. I model the things that I really want to bring into my own, personality when I'm speaking and things like that. So I really did engulf myself in speaking. So I don't want people to think that, it's just, I'm a natural at it, right? It is something that you can learn. It's a learned ability. It's a learned craft for sure.
Yeah. And I'm really glad you're saying that too, because I think when we see a public speaker, a professional speaker, or even an actor, whatever it is, the key behind turning pro or being a pro is making it look natural, making it look smooth and easy. But yes, the truth is just what you said, like you spent years working on this and different aspects of it, isolating different aspects of it and really learning. And I love what you said about modeling other speakers, because I mean, that's really the core foundation of NLP, is to find a model and then figure out what is the difference that makes a difference. So I have no doubt that you spent years doing all of that.
Oh, yeah.
And the result is, where can people find your speeches? Because the result is tremendous. The work that you put into it, you can tell, and when you're giving talks, like it's all there, and you make it look, like I said, easy. Where can people find some of your talks?
Right. Yeah. So you can search my name, Quentin McCain, Quentin McCain, on YouTube, at Coach Q McCain on all social media as well. I'll upload videos and things like that. Yep.
All right. Now, the other question that's I've been wondering about since we last talked is, how did you get into NLP?
Yeah. So I actually, so let's shorten it. Okay. So I started out doing life coaching. I got a life coaching certification from a school here in Tempe, Arizona. And not only did I get my life coach certification there, I actually worked there in the admissions department, and I helped out with the life coaching program. So working at a holistic school where they taught hypnotherapy, they taught life coaching, yoga teacher training, all of these different modalities. I learned about a lot of different things. So I started coaching clients with my life coaching certification, and I was seeing results, and I loved it. But I just felt that there was something else that I could add to it that I just didn't have a grasp on for creating lasting change, you know? Because I felt like, for me at least, a lot of my clients would go up and then they'd have these downs and then up and down, right? So I was just like, what else is there? So being in that realm, I just started hearing a lot about NLP, right? I heard a lot about hypnotherapy and I started hearing a lot about NLP. So I looked into those things. I studied, I took classes, I took trainings, and I just really engulfed myself in it, just like with the speaking, just like, you know, I'm bilingual as well. I learned Spanish, I engulfed myself in it, and I started using it immediately. You know, I didn't wait till I was that master, right? I just started using it with my clients, with friends, with myself, and ever since then I've been hooked.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Excellent. Well, my next question is, how exactly, or can you give examples of how you incorporate this in the work that you do?
Yeah, most definitely. So, as a speaker, you know, I weave it through a lot of my talks. So I have one talk that's called Awaken the Ultimate You that you can find on YouTube. And with that talk specifically, you'll hear that I give 3 tips. And I try to make it simple. And I say it's see it, speak it, feel it, right? So that's something that I weave through my talks to make it simple for audiences when it's not on a one-on-one basis, right? So telling them to visualize what they want with detail, right? Or you know, in NLP on a one-on-one basis, it might be like going back to an experience where you had this certain confidence or whatever it is, right? And bringing it into your future. Speak it. Words are really powerful, right? The linguistic portion. So I talk about how words have power and words can move mountains, right? You see it in, you know, books from thousands of years ago up until today. And then the feel it is the actually feeling the emotions of what you want, right? Getting excited, feeling like you already have what it is that you want, right? So that's one way that I use it with speaking. With coaching, as you may know, it will probably depend on the situation, because like with burn survivors, for example, they're regular people just like us. And a lot of times they've had some, you know, maps of the world that haven't been serving them before they were even burned. And then being burned may just intensify what they already had, right? Or it could create some other things. So might do like some parts work. You know, I heard on a video you were in, actually, you talked about the core transformation process that Connie Ray Andreas does. And that's been super powerful for me as well.
Oh, really? Have you done the core transformation training?
I haven't done the training, however, just watching like certain videos and things like that, and being with trainers who have done it, I have integrated parts of it, and I mean, just that has been super powerful for me. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I had Mark Andreas, Connie Ray and Steve's son. He
I
teaches.
saw that actually.
Yeah, and he came here to teach core transformation, and he does a phenomenal job, by the way. And I didn't realize it, but I started incorporating, because I mainly use the self-concept model from Steve Andreas, and that's the basis of my coaching. And I didn't realize it, but after he left, I started incorporating core transformation without even knowing it. And then I was talking to Mark. I don't know. I think I had him back over here. I was hosting him for another training, and we started talking. I was like, "Whoa! I forgot. I actually started incorporating, because it's such a powerful model, and it can mix so well with other stuff, that other modalities or processes and models that you're working on." So I haven't. It makes perfect sense what you're saying, that, you know, it just mixes in with your coaching very well. That's really cool.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, so for example, like I've been trained on like with NLP with like parts integration, right? And then so knowing that, and like reading core transformation, watching certain videos and things like that from you and other people, I just started using it. And that's what I do. Like, you know, I'm not perfect, right? We all continue to grow, and I'm the same way. I mean, I continue to dive into to NLP. You're never going to learn it all anyway.
True. Yeah. No, that's a great approach to it. You know, it's like, because a lot of times people think it's so daunting. Like if, somebody wanted to get into professional speaking and they dip their toe in it and they go, wow, like this is immense. But the thing is, you just get started. That's the thing. Just get started. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to learn it all. Just do it. So, and then I can tell you live that philosophy. Like just you jump into things. You learn a little bit of NLP on a video, and then you go and use it. So
Oh yeah.
we should be doing that, right? It's
Yes, indeed.
there. The information's there. That's great. Now, so I want to go a little bit deeper here. We started off the conversation pretty deep. You jumped into the whole burn victim thing. And so first of all, I got to first acknowledge that's some pretty intense work to be doing that.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm just wondering, and you said 8 years you were doing it?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Tell me a little bit about how that's shaped you. And I'm intentionally being broad and vague here.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of want to hear more about your story. How does that shape you as a person, as a coach? I mean, you must. I'm going to make this assumption here. You must have immense empathy for like everyone. Like once you cultivated that for burn victims, I mean, that doesn't just stay with burn victims. I would imagine you kind of your world is being extremely empathetic with people.
Yeah, I definitely strive to. Yeah, so I worked in the Arizona Burn Center for 8 years, and it was a life-changing experience. Honestly, it was. It's hands down the best, like 9 to 5 type of job I've ever had, right? And it was intense. It really was. I don't believe that just anybody can work in that field, because you see a lot of things. A lot of emotions are going around. It's high pace. Nurses, doctors running around back and forth, and it is interesting. So when I was there, I definitely learned more about empathy. When you see those patients, and it makes you think about your own life. I've seen little girls, burn from playing with matches and things like that. And I have a little girl myself. So you definitely feel these people, you feel them. And it has made me grow as a person, most definitely. Just understanding the human condition.
Yeah. With working with burn victims, I mean, you really have to look past. I think what happens, you don't see a lot of like sort of like disfigured people in everyday life.
Right.
I think they probably tend to cover up, and they're afraid of they're already suffering that physical pain and emotional pain that goes with that. They don't need the additional emotional pain of people looking at them as anything other than just a person and a human being. So tell me a little bit about being able to, I guess, get comfortable with that, because you're seeing it every single day, to the point where you can look past that and see a person's like true humanity.
Right. I think it goes back to what we were talking about, and that's the intention. I have caught myself at times when I worked in the burn. You see something, and we're human. You're like, oh my goodness, like, wow, like I can't believe that happened to this person, right? And you're in awe, and it's not intended to be a bad thing when people are looking like, oh my gosh, right, this person. But then we don't think about a lot of times how that person feels, right? Because they catch you looking or whatever, right? And I think that it's a matter of getting in touch with the real person, right? The real person inside of there. When you have a conversation with that person, you realize that, wow, this person has goals, aspirations. This person has a husband, a wife, a kid, right? This person wants to get back to, working. Then you realize that you start actually not even seeing the burns. You start seeing the real person.
When I think about like my problems, and then I think about someone who had to go through, and still it's ongoing. I mean, if you're severely burned, you don't get to take that off. You're
Right.
living with it for your life. So when I think about that, my problems just seem to go away. So you're going in there with this experience, having gone through 8 years of working with people like that. Now you're going to like professionals and CEOs, and you're doing these talks. How does that shape what you say to those people and how you coach people and talk and deliver those talks?
It makes a huge difference. It really does. It shaped my life and it shaped my career really because I actually use stories from working in the burn a lot with speaking as well as coaching. And just for that reason that you stated, that if I tell you a story about how I worked with an 11-year-old girl burn 20% of her body and how she's smiling and creating new goals for herself, it's going to make you feel like, wow, subconsciously or consciously both. Wow, you know what? If this little girl who's been burned was so brave and, to come out and create new goals and go to the next level in her life, then you could do it too. So I use a lot of stories from working in the burn center with coaching clients as well as speaking.
All right. Well, I got to say that's really inspirational to hear. I commend you for doing that. I mean, you certainly have done the work in many ways, not just working with burn victims, but obviously as a speaker and as an NLPer. And so I got to say, I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope everyone out there who's watching this get the same or similar out of it that I'm getting out of it. And it's just always good to talk to you. Like I said, you're always upbeat. You're always so positive. It's just like maybe anytime I'm feeling down, I'll just give you a call.
Hey, do it. I'm down. We can mastermind anytime, help each other out. I will say that if anybody is interested in helping out or looking into burn survivors, here's another quick story. 2 years ago in 2016, I went to the Phoenix World Burn Congress. And this is the largest burn conference that I know of in the world. And there's, 900 or 1,000 plus people that attend, mostly burn survivors, but also healthcare practitioners, psychologists, first responders, things like that. So I went there because I wanted to experience it. Usually I was in the burn center in the hospital helping them when they were in the situation, but I didn't have a chance too much to see them afterwards. And when I went to this conference, it was life changing. Hearing all the stories, hearing the people that were speaking there, helping, and I set the intention that, you know what, I want to speak here. I think I have something to offer to this community. And I'm happy to say that I will be a keynote speaker alongside my mom, Marie Hall, who is also the co-author of my book, Think on These Things. We are keynoting at the Phoenix World Burn Congress this year. And it's actually next month in September. So if anybody's interested in the burn community, helping out or being a part of it, it's Phoenix World Burn Congress that they hold it every year.
Great. Well, maybe we can put a link in here somewhere down below.
Sure.
Excellent. Okay. Well, before we go, how can people find you or attend your talks, or if they're looking for coaching, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, most definitely. So QuentinMcCain.com, just like my name, QuentinMccain.com, and all social media at Coach Q McCain.
Great. So yeah, check out his talks. Like I said, he does a phenomenal job, and he makes it look easy. So don't let it fool you. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and let's keep talking.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care.